treating you well. It's been pretty sunny here. Mild rain yesterday, but it would seem that all of our rivers are not overflowing and going crazy anymore, which is an amazingly good thing. It looks like we'll have a water year to remember. Hey Dennis, how's it going? Welcome. Waiting for everything to kind of start kicking here. But tonight I got a request for a soft tackle, a PMD, and then I threw a bait fish in there for good measure. We wanted to have a balanced meal, and that is apparently just how I'm going to do that. So comments seem wonky, unless Dennis is the only one so far. Everybody probably is enjoying daylight savings time in some aspect. So anyways, I think this evening what we'll start with, puppies. If you hear my puppy barking in the background, she is upset because she is locked out of the office due to feather eating. So what we'll do is we'll go up close and go from there. Hey Bob, how's it going? Looks like I'm back to having to refresh comments. That's unfortunate. So let's do this here. We'll just zoom in there. Alright, that looks about centered. Alrighty, it's kind of centered-ish. No, needs a little bit more down. Alrighty, cool. Let's see here. Got jig flies everywhere on my bench. It's constant. So, whoa! Salvatore, hello. Jake, Claire, Nate, Ebbers, Yellow Matt. Hello, hello, hello. Alrighty. So I'm going to start out with this little soft tackle guy. I got a new chair, so it's like I'm way taller, which is actually how I tie. Normally, I like to look down on my bugs. So, looks like the puppy is in full-blown naughty mode. Sorry about my puppy and her barking. She's a bit unruly right now. Where'd that go? There we go. Guy, hello, hello. Joel, hello. Alrighty. So I don't have my 50D. I left it over there even though I said I would totally go and get it. Well, I'm going to run and grab it because I like my 50D. Sorry guys. Oh man, cursed myself. Just cursed myself. Said that I wasn't going to tie with 18-aught. And I lied. Did you guys get to see the new chair? There's not much to it. It's not much of a chair. Alrighty. So much better. But squeaky. Bingo. I destroyed that chair. I actually was standing on that chair, mounting something into my wall, and I think I focused too much of Matt into one area, and there was a definite issue and trouble after that. So this is our little soft tackle for the evening, and I have a orange and a brown, Life Flex, super floss type material. I'm going to go ahead and tie it in. You notice I didn't run all the way down. the shank of the hook yet. Reason being is because I want this to have a nice thin body. So once I get it really well tied in, I'm putting a ton of pressure on this, and that will help us in keeping a nice thin body. And after that, this is actually pretty easy. This is a pretty rudimentary pattern, actually. I'm just going to release the tension, and you can see the difference there. What size is the hook? Great question, Claire. This is actually a size 12, so I tie this in a 12 to a 14. Although I find when they're eating the soft tackle, they're not as particular just because of all the movement. Russell, hello, man. It's almost like Friday, but it's Thursday. Russell's excited. I like it. It's good stuff. Let's see the chair. Oh. The chair, you can only see the top of it. It's just this super lame bar stool thing that was, well, it was a bar stool, so I cut it down to where the foot supports are on the ground now. And this is just a little bit of head cement. I would have preferred to use Zap-A-Gap, but or like Loctite or any of the crazy glues, but my daughter decided that those were for her, and kind of made a bit of a mess and let them rot or dry out. So I'll have to get more. So you can see I've pulled these 2 strands of brown and orange Superfloss, and I'm using that to create like that biot or that quill body look. You don't want to do that, because that is just grenading. I have one short, one long. I just slipped my finger, and basically that's the only downfall to using the Life Flex and stuff like that, is if you let go or you slip, you're pretty much roasted. Or as Nick Davis would say, is that what he says? Roasted? I don't know what he says. So I'm actually going to clip these so I don't make that same mistake twice. And right now, with the head cement underneath, or like a Loctite crazy glue, I'm not putting a lot of tension on these, and that's why I'm doing the underbody with like a glue substrate, just so I can keep that being structurally sound. I'm sorry my puppy is causing trouble, Scott. She only got ran for an hour today, and for her that's not nearly enough. She missed her morning torture in the backyard. See if we can't track that in just a hair more. I don't want to like, oh yeah, look at that, enhance. No, Dan, I've been working on covering my cuticles with bed liner. That's about it. Hey, Greg, we will go easy on you. Hi, Jeremiah. How are you? Flyconoclast. Hello, Jeff. No problem, man. Old Super Spay. Welcome and hello, Super Spay. So this is actually a body system that I play with quite a bit on pretty much everything now, just because you can get that really cool. Can I make Life Flex pliers? It's already been done, actually, and I should have been smart and just used my Tires Tools hackle plier, because it works super great. But I could make some special ones that are hot pink for you or something, and we'll call them Life Flex pliers. So I'm going to take just a tiny bit of STS Trilobal in brown stone, and again, you'll see me use that color a lot. It's one of my favorites because it has a little bit of yellows, reds, brown, and it looks like a touch of olive in there. So it's a really killer earthy. You can use some ice dub in golden brown, PT, any of those kind of colors there. And I'm just going to dub a quick dubbing ball. You could do this in a dubbing loop if you wanted to make it more buggy. I'm not incredibly concerned about it. Also, once you get to this point, you'd be able to pick it out. Life Flex pliers. I'm going to bring them to you on April 15th, man. Hot pink pliers. Just for you, Super Spay. So yeah, Jeff, eye quills are absolutely kind of a pain. You have to get like really cool ones and then dye them, and then. But if you want an easy hack for eye quills, just use Nair, like the stuff like chicks use on their legs or mustaches or whatever, and it will absolutely take all of that off for you. Just have to hair condition them afterwards. Joe, hello. And looks the same and easier. Yeah, absolutely, it is. It is kind of more sustainable, I guess you would say. Like you're not gonna really run out of Life Flex, or whereas quills might, they might get harder to find because of weird peacock regulations and such. But so I'm going to take a brown CDC feather and wrap it in. And if I forgot to mention, because I was talking about my dog, I apologize. This is a Daiichi 1167. It's one of my favorite hooks for way more than just clean camera style flies. You don't want to go overzealous, and you don't want to under wrap this. I also do tie these with a bead head as well, which is pretty good. Does some good stuff. The CDC tends to breathe really well in the water. Another great replacement would just be partridge. Between CDC and partridge, it goes on about 90% of my nymphs now. So and we'll just whip finish there, snug it down, go from there. I have to refresh again. That's gonna kind of frustrate me. Throws off my game just a bit. Can't keep up with what people are heckling me about. Let's see. Oh, that's a cool idea, Russell. I like that. Lower sack is still too jacked. It's pretty dirty still, and but it's fishing. It's back down. I think it was at 10 the other day. Pull up my river gauge, let you know. But I mean, guys are out there. They're fishing big dark flies. It's at 8,600 CSF right now, so that's well within reason for a winter flow. It's still actually a little bit high for a winter flow on the lower sack. Usually we're at like 4,500. But it would fish. I don't know where any of the bars are anymore. As I look at it, everything looks different. So it'd be kind of exploratory at this point. But that's just my little Sofito. And you know, in the earlier parts of the hatch, like I'll use this for PMDs quite a bit. And in the earlier part of the hatch, I don't mind using this 12, you know, 14s and 16s. As the hatch progresses during the summer, fish get more selective. Then I'll shrink down to the smaller sizes as well. But it's really, really good on a trout space setup. It's a very fun fly to swing, as well as it doesn't perform poorly underneath an indicator. So if whatever your flavor of attack is there, it'll work out. Soft tackle king. Man, I just like soft tackles because not a lot of dudes fish them anymore. So they're just soft and suggestive. So it's good stuff. Good stuff. I think everything, even my big October caddis soft tackles are, well, they're still soft tackles. So next up, we're gonna do just a little PMD style nymph, and we'll talk about dressing it and stuff like that. But it's a pretty fun little pattern, and a lot of guys have asked me, and you know, in comments or something on social media, be it Instagram or Facebook, they're like, "Man, why do you fish so many jigs? And how do you fish a jig under? Do you fish jigs under indicators?" And I absolutely do. I actually string them all up with one piece of tippet, and I use Palomar knots. If you Google search a Palomar knot, it'll show you probably some sort of bass fishing scenario, like drop shotting, and I basically will do a drop shot rig between my flies, and works out pretty darn well. So I'm going to be tying on just a 4640 jig hook this evening, 1/8 inch copper slotted tungsten bead. And I like to put as much weight into some of my point flies as I can. And by point flies, I mean I'd lead with this and then trail with a soft tackle, or something like that. Craig Williams says, just like me, soft and suggestive. There you go, Greg. Mina, thank you. Evers, soft tackles catch fish. Yeah, there's no point. There's no beating around the bush there. They really do. Talk a little bit about swing fishing. In what aspect would you like to know? Are you talking about trout spay techniques and stuff like that? Flyconicast? Hit me back. I'll answer your questions. But I'll have to refresh first. So, let's see here. Digging stuff up off the table here. Thanks, Dana. Appreciate it. What colors do I make this fly in? Bob, are you talking about the soft tackle or this jig? I'm assuming, due to the timing of your comment, you're talking about the jig. And if so, I'll do it in red, yellow, this brown, a darker brown, black, like a green. Basically skittle the thing out, and it's just going to be a rainbow of different colors. So I'm going to use for my tail just some bronze mallard. That's absolutely, Edward, no problem. Oh, that's cool. Sylvester Neems. I'll have to check it out. I like that. If it has lots of pictures, I'm totally in. So my basics with the trout space stuff is I'm really targeting a lot of the same water that I would fish. I mean, I'll fish fast riffly water, and I'll also fish a lot of smoother, more tail out water just on the swing. And I basically, just like swinging, you know, real old school wet flies, just do a 45 down and across. I'm adjusting the tips based off the depth that I need to achieve and the speed of the water. So out here on the lower stack, I fish a lot of stuff it's just real smooth, constant gradient. In the evening, we're having pretty prolific hatches of, you know, say PMDs or caddis, something like that. And soft tackles kind of can emulate both of those pretty easily as long as you match size and then followed by color. And it just works out really, really well. So it's really fun. I run like a 3-weight spay rod for it with real lightweight lines. And absolutely, it's like, if you hook a 20-inch fish, I consider it to be a lot like a steelhead. You know, they have lots of jumps in them and stuff like that. Oh, the soft tackle. So with the soft tackles, I mean, man, I'll tie those bodies every single color of the rainbow as well. I am not shy with my soft tackle colors either, Bob. I go absolutely wild. And a lot of the cool stuff, I mean, I've been fishing, it'll sound the weirdest thing ever, it's like a kingfisher blue soft tackle, which is basically like the blue that you're seeing in here, this like kind of bright, poppy, vibrant blue with a black hackle, and the fish have been super responsive to it. So it's been interesting. Doesn't match any bug, swinging it, and they just eat it. So this is a small, like a light brown Vivus holographic tinsel, and I'm going to use some midge, or you could use a micro tubing. This is light golden stone. It's really just a yellow color, but I like the light golden stone color. Actually, also orange makes a great body. Oh yeah. All that traditional stuff, like just the real old like lead wing stuff that with married wings, it'll surprise you. I mean, that stuff you can go out to this day. Guys are getting back into fishing glass and all this stuff, and you go out and fish these wonky things that like you see in books or on coffee mugs of like nostalgic flies. You're like, man, how did that ever work? And then you go fish them, and you're like, oh, okay, that's cool. Those still work. So it's really eye-opening. So I'm just going to do a quick underbody. I don't care about perfection in this. It's not a copper john. You're not getting judged. Most of the colors will end up coming through anyways. And I'll actually tie this up to a size 8 in a jig. And the only change I make is I add little horns out of the front, so it's like a small golden stone. So all I do from here is just do connecting turns. And finish up front here. Now I do a locking maneuver here. So I wrap forward and then I go back over it. So you can see it's finishing coming out the back of the fly. It's kind of like my intruders and stuff like that. So it's you know, I double it over to hold that together. Fish don't eat blue. No problem, Flyconocast. So what I'll do here is I'll just give this a quick little, if I get too much I'll just start spreading it out. But just a quick hit with the flow. And you can see I suck the flow back into the bottle. I don't want that guy to get resignated out there. And you can add hot spots, you know, like hot tags and other such fanciness, but it's really just another step, and I don't often do it. Yeah, it's kind of like, I guess fish don't like purple, right? They despise it. They eat all those silly purple haze flies everybody's fishing these days, or has been fishing. What's the green floss? Green floss. Hey Aaron, what's up? Glass rod. I don't know what the green floss is. Let's see. I don't know if it is. I don't have anything green. The only thing I could think of is if you're talking about this guy that I'm showing you right now, that is midge tubing in light golden stone. If you're tying anything smaller than like a 14, I'll recommend going to the micro. It just does a lot better. For me, at least. Some pretty cool new colors too. This golden olive, I got a purple now, and chartreuse. This dyed orange and the sunburst have been pretty much my go-tos, along with that. Let's see. Don't want them to be too big. Oh, it looked green on camera. Okay, that makes sense then. Sorry, Evers. Sorry. I'll keep it real, buddy. Just trying to find the right guy. I haven't dyed any. I would love to dye some whole skins some of these colors, but it's not in my current life algorithm or the next 2 months of traveling's algorithm. What's up, Aaron? No problem, Dan. What happened to Super Spay? Jeremiah, are you still out there, or are you just behaving? So I'm going to tie it in tip first, and I'll double over for security. And you can, it's your discretion if you want to go double feather or, double side of the feather or single. I like a little bit of a heavier collar for this fast water stuff. I think it has a little bit more support. So you can fish this in pretty heavy water. Still going to get down. Still be pretty sparse, but is what it is. you can you know, rip off one half too and make it real skinny, and that's going to just get it down faster. And last up, we'll just do a little pinch of PTI stub. You could use PT, you can use like a golden olive, a brown, tons of colors. Light makes it look green. That's it. Loon has to buy me new lights. Color correcting lights. So I just do a real quick little flash color there, because the holographic tinsel really does get subdued underneath that midge tubing, but in the light you get a lot of depth. I'm just going to drop some flow into that top bead hole that you'll see right there, and then I'll just go ahead and cure it. The cool thing I found out with this sunburst yellow color from Hairline that I'm using, it you can see how much that whole bag fluoresces. So that's pretty darn cool to find a you know, a muted neutral color that actually fluoresces. Kind of stokes me out. It's got a cool glow behind it. Piece of ice ripple fiber sticking off of it. I just saw that pop up like a wild animal. So yeah, that's just the it's just a little basic jig there. Good box filler. Good for a lot of things. Just wanted to definitely play with. That looks really big. Just put the fluorescing over my lights. Exactly. I'm going to boogie back out just a hair here. There we go. So this is actually green. Looks, well, looks pretty green. So this is just a fun little, I call it a bunny deceiver. I mean, there's so many variations on all of the flies in the world now, which is part of the reason why I don't really give them well thought out, cool guy fly bin names. But half the time my coworkers name them for me. So sometimes they're named weird things, but this is something I have to accept. So we'll walk you guys through this guy here. This is a great, I'm actually going to send these down to Baja for some smaller bait. I got a little box I'm working on for a friend, and I'm curious to see how bunny deceivery things work in the saltwater. Try an LED light. These are LEDs, actually. It's kind of a bummer. They're actually, I use LED studio lighting, so there's a communication breakdown somewhere in the technology. It's not getting the, it's not picking up. Either that, or I put on like some sort of old-timey theme on my camcorder that we're using for the live stream. That's also a possibility that I've pushed a button that I shouldn't have. After all, I'm a fly tyer, not a television producer. Alright. So our tail is a material called Groovy Bunny, and this happens to be a black barred Groovy Bunny. And this is blue, yellow, white. It does. The colors are way different on the camera. I think I hit like super old school camera mode. I'm going to have to check that. Hey Tim, what's up? Zonkers are dirty. I love zonkers. I love these groovy bunnies. Like, all of my steelhead stuff was tied with these this year. All of my bunny stuff for steelheading. So cool tip, if you get it, you know, out of the package and it like comes and it looks all sizzled out and twisted and like it had a long weekend, just give it a good solid tug and that'll typically straighten that back out for you. And I cut it on an angle, not like a point. You know, if you're looking down the rabbit strip, I cut it at a progressively downward angle. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, not at all on camera. Take off a little bit for my tie-in point. And I just do real tight turns here. And then I'll fold it back over. Tie it back in again. So you get this bump, but that bunny strip's never going to pull out. And if you guys are into tying like tarpon flies and you don't want them to foul, but you want to maintain action, what I'll do is I'll actually saturate the hide with flow about, you know, not the whole way back. And then when I hit it with the light, you're still going to have all of that rabbit movement back here in the tail, but you'll notice this becomes super solid and super strong. So it's going to lay out nice and flat, and you're going to alleviate that potential for fouling of your flies. You don't have to pull 40-pound mono through the skin or, you know, do an extra loop underneath. It just kind of really takes a lot of the punishment out of tying rabbit stuff. So this is some polar reflector flash. I'm going to use this kind of as the internals of the fly. Oh, the hook? Sorry, John. I'm Space Cadet today. I probably shouldn't have used so much contact cement. How does the Loon bobbin match up with other bobbins? I designed the Loon bobbin to tie big stuff, like man flies. But I actually tie everything with it. So it's pretty good. I like it. I won't complain. I'm happy with the way it came out. So this is the Ahrex NS122. It's a light stinger, and what I'm really using this for is actually a B10S replacement. I don't have to go and search for B10Ss at various different stores. Sometimes when you get them at certain shops, they're way more money than you would, you know, see anywhere else. It's a killer light wire wide gap hook, and I have hooked some pretty darn decent sized Trinity steelhead on this with tubes, using this as my tube stinger this fall. So I have a pretty decent belief in it. So Bob, asking me anything about Loon stuff, it's probably going to be a loaded question just because I design all of the Loon stuff. Just to forewarn you. If I'm tying really small stuff though that this isn't able to get in, I use Hairline's tungsten tube bobbin. It's about a $40 bobbin, and it is my other bobbin that I use. Those are it now. I haven't found one with to my personal style. Everybody has their own style, so don't take what I say with a grain of salt, but I don't feel the need for a tension adjustable bobbin. I have a hand, and it compresses the spool and allows me to, you know, apply tension. But I also fish click paw reels, again using my hand to apply tension and drag to fish. Am I going to design a smaller bobbin for smaller flies? For fries, yes. We're going to get French fry sized bobbins. Yeah, probably. Absolutely. I'd like to take the design that we have here, just the comfort and everything else that we've worked out with that. Maybe, you know, down the road, get, you know, something smaller for trout stuff. Absolutely. Great question, Bobby. So this is actually a pretty big brush for a smaller fly, but it's a Senyo's chromatic 3-inch wide brush, and this one's called Live Bait. So it's like an Arctic fox with some flash in there that's actually like a silver holographic flash. Yeah, but if you're tying big flies, streamers, stuff like that, steelhead flies, I know a lot of guys complain about the reach of the bobbin, that it's really long, and they don't feel that they can get in there. I've been through every length on tubes on this, and this is just for the size and what I'm trying to accomplish with this tool. It's where I wanted to go, just because I felt there wasn't a like savagely big bobbin out on the market. Cheech, how are you, brother? Welcome. So we're going to do just a few wraps here of this chromatic brush, and you know, you could use a synthetic in here too. Really the choice is yours. So I don't take a ton of time and effort to make sure my wraps are that good, typically. And this is actually a weird tool I just created, but it's like a piece of the I bought the blend your own dubbing kit. Brush only is like $20, and then I cut it into pieces because I wanted more of these nasty looking spikes, so I just glued it on this piece of wood that I turned. Second, the smaller bobbin. Consider it to be done. I'll work on it. Can't say it's going to be this year, but I'll work on it. So, since Puppy is in trouble because of eating things, she also ate my magic minnow belly. So, I'm just going to substitute with, it's not so much that she ate it, she didn't really like it, but let's just say it's no longer recognizable. So if you have, say if you're a follower of Senor Clark Pierce and you have like a bruiser blend or a laser dub or a magic minnow belly in this scenario, it would work really well. And it's just adding a little bit more throat to the bottom of the fly as we work towards the head of the fly here. Okay, so this is a material, it was just released. It's called Fox Bucktail, or Faux Bucktail. It's pretty cool. I've had it for quite a while now. I've been playing with it, experimenting with it. When guys were talking about quill bodies, that's one strand of this, and you get like a major chunk of it. So I started doing bodies with it, legs with it. I've been having a little bit of fun. Now, it doesn't flare quite the same as a bucktail would. I mean, you gotta prop it. But one thing I have noticed is that it helps to maintain shapes of other materials as well. Nice dubbing brush I made. Oh, I just buy those. Looks like a cat brush. It's kind of a cat brush. So this is this is the chartreuse color, and I'm going obviously for a sexy shad crankbait style here. So I'm going to go ahead and lock these guys in. Now you see they're pretty rigid. They have a lot of, they do move pretty well in the water. And I've seen guys talk about, what do I do with that? Well, those are pretty juicy little, one single of those makes real great small mayfly legs. So I keep a little pile of them around, and I've been using it for various stuff. And I'm going to actually alternate my base colors here, and use just, I guess I could use a brighter Senyo on this too. He does have, so this is a silver blue metallic barred black Senyo's Predator wrap, and you'll see I cut it off equally, and then I alter the length of the fibers just to make it uneven and seem more natural. And then secure it in incredibly well. Yeah, I just get to kind of screw around and create stuff on occasion when I'm not doing like a million other projects, but it's alright. Yeah, I mean, I haven't, I'll show you when I'm done here, Ed. I haven't had any major issues with it, not being able to wrap smaller bodies and stuff, but I have also not been hyper particular with it. I definitely think it's a little bit different than the, it's really slick. I thought I caught that back there. Should have been looking at the fly, not the camera. That happens though. She is slick. So you can see I'm getting a lot of prop. So it actually does flare a decent amount. It's not amazing flare. Catch you, bugger. It does not want to catch right there for some reason. Alright, we'll just let you go. So that lack of, that's, then we're going to do a little green over the top. And actually the Senyo's, the Predator wraps too, are pretty awesome to do over bodies and stuff like that for a like a little buyout style body and stuff like that. I'm just going to go half the craziness with the green there. I love Sam Squatches. It's kind of a plastic, yeah. I mean, it's a synthetic. I don't know. I'm not privy to the actual make of it, but it's really translucent. That was the one thing I try to show you too. Blizzard plant. But I mean, it's when you put it up to the light, there's actually no. It's not opaque. It's very translucent. So it's a very cool material to work with. It's got. Took me a little bit of time to figure out how I wanted to manipulate it and what I wanted to do with it, but seems pretty good. We're going to use some eyes. Just kind of clean all this raz up here. We're going to be putting the eye holes in. They're easier to hunt. Yeah, they are easier to hunt, and they also don't smell. It's like, honestly, I don't mind most smells in the fly fishing industry because you're managing pelts and whatnot pretty much constantly. But bucktail just is always just this. It's just that musty funk that I'm not down with. And these are just Flyman's Living Eyes. These are the ice versions. I think they have like the 4 elements, if I'm remembering everything. It's like earth, wind, water, fire, ice. I want some black ones. We'll just call those Ninja. And I'm going to go ahead and set it with some thin. It's fake deer. I just saw that. Good work, Evers. Well heckled, sir. Well heckled. So I'll just actually leave the light on. And I'm going to use the thin to fill this void down in here as well. And refresh while we cure. So once I start to get my whole look that I want, I'll go right behind the eyes as well and just kind of connect through, make sure everything's kind of where I want it, and slowly rotate until I see what, looks pretty right, and then we'll go from there. They're easier to hunt. My goodness. That is awesome. It's very true. And we'll just double check, make sure we filled all the voids. If there's any little spots here, we can come back in, allow it to level back out. I want a little bit more up here, just being particular. There we go. So yeah, it's just the little bunny deceiver, and you can see how those fibers help to maintain that profile mixed in. They blend pretty seamlessly because of their smaller diameter into the fly, and you don't actually end up seeing them as much. I'm sure you could flare them over some of those like big musky collar chingaderas as well, but I have not ventured to do that yet. We're going to track out so you don't have to see my nostrils in giant view, which is good. Oh, to Cheech. You can smell it all the way in Minnesota. Only when the wind is right. Only when the wind is correct can you do that. So yeah, just a pretty fun little bait fish. Like I said, this is a size 4, so you can time smaller. You can use the micro pulsator strips back here, and should work out pretty darn well. Got a hearty little box of salt snacks heading to Baja, and I'm gonna see how those hold up against some smaller rooster fish. But there's the little Baja kit. So there we go. Let's see what gets loaded up here. Any more questions? Whoa. Yes. That Baja kit looked good on camera. It's way better than it looks in real life. Thanks, Bob. Put it in the tank. I don't have the tank set up, Dan. Sorry. I'll do it next week though, or the next time. I drained the tank and it was in for cleaning after a mildly neglectful period that I had with the tank. I forgot about the tank sitting like right here and was not swimming many jigs and stuff like that. So as always, guys, I thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you in a couple weeks here. Actually, I should probably check the schedule. Let's see. Calendar. Okay, cool. Yeah, so the next one will be April 6th, so that's actually quite a few weeks away. And if any of you guys live in Southern California, there's a cool shop show barbecue deal at the Fly Stop in San Diego, California. And then there's also one that's going to be pretty hard to forget. If you live in LA, if you live in San Francisco, the Fisherman's Spot all weekend actually has Davey McPhail in the shop. So I'll be there hanging out, working my booth, and Davey will be inside tying. He has private classes. I'm not sure if they're sold out, but he's doing like full-blown 4 days of tying at the Fisherman's Spot. So that's a pretty big deal to see Mr. Davey McPhail. I'm excited to get to hang out with him and pick his brain a bit. So yeah, if you guys are down anywhere within the like a half day's drive of LA County, I'd probably recommend meeting Davey McPhail. He seems like probably one of the big dudes. So let's see here. Thanks, Bob. Thank you, Edward. Dana, thank you. Scott, thanks. John, thank you. Greg, I appreciate it. Chingaderas. Love you, Cheech. Flyconicast, appreciate you tuning in. Bob, thank you. Awesome. Aaron, thank me. Oh, well, you're a sweetheart. Dennis, thank you. I'm sure I'll see you at the fly shop here soon. Nate, thanks. Claire, thank you again. But yeah, guys, anyways, that's all I got for this time. If you have any questions, email me, matt@loonoutdoors.com. Super open about hitting me up if you want to see me tie some other weird stuff. As long as it's not a dry fly, I'll typically do it. Yeah, that is about it. Mr. Ebers, Claire, and Mina, thank you guys. I'm going to bail out, go retrieve my retriever, and see what she's going crazy about. Have a great night and a great weekend, guys. Take care. Bye.